Hi, I'm here to rank the Frozen characters that got brought into live action in the fourth season of Once Upon a Time. And I don't think that any of them are bad, so I think that's important to know for the ranking because if somebody's in last place, it could seem like, that's one of the bad ones or something like that. And I don't want that to seem like it's the case because it's not for this ranking. Because in last place, in eighth place, is Oaken, and I think that Oaken is perfectly fine in Once Upon a Time. He feels like the character that he should be, personality wise. Not super memorable or anything, and not super important to the story, but the characterization, the adaptation, the look, perfectly fine. I feel like he works. So even though he's in last place, he's not bad. In seventh place is Anna and Elsa's father, who I think is given the name Kai, which I don't think that his name had been established to being Agnar at that point. But it is weird because there is a character named Kai in the first Frozen film. But anyways, the dad's look is captured very well. He's certainly important. He's just not there for very long. In sixth place is the mother, who is given a more important role in the story than the father is. So that's why I have her ahead of him, because she's able to be a more interesting character and stuff like that. Uh, in fifth place is Kristoff, who is a lot of fun. I think that he has some good interactions with Elsa. I feel like his role is perfectly solid and he works well in the story. Uh, and there's really not too much to complain about with Once Upon a Time's version of Kristoff. I think I just find the others more interesting. In fourth place is Hans, and it was a bit hard to decide like who should be ahead between Hans and Kristoff, but why I decided to put Hans ahead is because of the storyline of him working with his brothers for revenge. It really felt like Once Upon a Time, instead of just adapting stuff from the first film, it felt like in some ways it was giving out some sequel stuff and some really fresh ideas while capturing the look of Frozen about as perfectly as possible. So having Hans get to do something pretty different was really interesting, and I think that it was a fun little subplot. In third place is the Duke of Wesselton, who's not around for very long, but it is so much fun to see him. I loved seeing the Duke of Wesselton show up in Once Upon a Time. He's a character that easily could have been ignored. It feels like he often is ignored in a lot of Frozen stuff. It was so much fun to have him around and see what he was like when he was younger. Not too much different. Got to see that he was already causing trouble, and it was great to see such an underrated character. And then for the top two, I feel like it's very close because I feel like both Frozen sisters were adapted so well. In second place, I am going for Anna. I feel like her heart, her charming personality, her selflessness is very much on display. She really is great in Once Upon a Time. Number one, I am going for Elsa, and it's very hard to decide between Elsa and Anna because of how well they were adapted. I think Elsa's really good interactions with Emma, the main protagonist of Once Upon a Time, really helps Elsa. And her having great interactions with Anna is to be expected, but with the Once Upon a Time characters, Elsa could feel out of place. But I felt like Elsa and Emma were able to connect to each other and relate to each other to a certain degree. So I thought that was really cool to see. So um, I feel like Anna and Elsa are about on equal terms, but I feel like Elsa is just a slight bit better in Once Upon a Time. So that's how I feel about it. If you've seen the fourth season of Once Upon a Time, feel free to let me know. What do you think?